Hey guys, it's JQ Crafty. Welcome back to Tuesdays in the Attic, where we're going to play with a Dusty Attic sketch again today. Today is week 15, and remember, I'm doing the sketches from 2019, so they're a couple years old, and I will continue to do them. But yeah, we are going to play with a sketch. Instead of 3 photos, I'm going to do these 2, and it's just us trying on our son's Easter hat for the first time and showing his auntie because we thought it was adorable. And playing with this kit from Paper Issues. It's from also 2019. So, dating back to 2019, not a big problem. But I love sketches that have strips, multiple strips and banners. It's a great way to use up some scraps. I don't have a ton of scraps in this sketch or in this collection yet, but I figured these were bright, colorful photos with his green and his orange and just happy photos in general, and it'd be a good place to start. So let's get started. So like I had said, playing with this old Paper Issues kit. So first I'm going to trim down my photos. Since we have 2 photos instead of 3, they're just gonna be wider, basically. But you can change any sketch to work for you however you need to. I could have added a journaling block. I could have added just like a giant embellishment. I could have done anything like that. So I'm looking through all the papers and I'm really liking this leftover green and thinking about bringing in some rainbow just to bring in all the colors. And I like that wider stripe. But then as I'm flipping through all the papers, which there's a lot of Pretty Little Studio, and I don't remember what the other papers were. I think I kind of talk about which ones were which though, but I end up finding a tighter, it's like a smaller strip rainbow, and it's on the back of this blue paper. And I thought at first this sunburst would be a good background paper, but then after I was kind of cutting up the pieces and layering the big pieces of the sketch, I realized, not so much. But I really liked this rainbow and I really wanted to bring a lot of color into the layout. So my thought was, as I'm getting these papers together, I would do the rainbow as like the main kind of rectangle in the center of the page, and then border it with some black, and then with the paper on the other side, which is the dark blue and the dark blue with floral, like the daisies. So I happen to have this strip of orange, kind of looks like brush stroked paper, already cut to almost the exact width and height that I needed to make that strip down the center. First, I'm going to mat my photos on the tiniest bit of black. So I'm just going to have a very thin border. So that's why I get out my Fiskars trimmer, just because I can trim more precisely with that. So if it seems like I'm using that more, it's because I'm wanting more precise cuts. I just use my big rotary trimmer for like measuring and cutting like big things. And yeah, I never thought I would buy a new trimmer and then not use it that much, but it's not my favorite. And so now, after I started doing that, I was like, you know what? There's a lot of good branding strips on here. So I start cutting off all the branding strips because I figured I could use those for the strips that are in the little banners that are basically look like they kind of go across behind the photo block there on the main center of the page. So I got a bunch of branding strips cut. And then I'm going to start assembling the main pieces of the layout now. I'm just making sure my mat is the way I want to make sure this piece of paper is straight because it really wasn't. And then I'm going to glue or adhere these down on here with a little bit extra on the ends. And then I'll trim it down. And then I'll start trimming down the green piece and then that rainbow piece the way I would like it to go. First, I'm going to take this black and white stripe paper and get a couple black and white strips cut out so that I can layer it under. And then I realized in the back there's some really good borders. There's this black patterned border just to bring some more black into somewhere else other than just the background. And then, or just the border of the papers and then the border of the photos as well. So I trim that, and then there's 2 others on there. There's like a blue on blue one, very thin strip. And then there is a green one. And that way I can bring some more color. Otherwise, most of the branding strips that I trimmed off were all pinks and like pinky reds. And so I wanted to bring some more colors in than just pink and red. All right, so now I'm going to trim, I'm going to cut this paper down to the chunk that's going to be the main piece, the main square basically. And then I trimmed 2 more strips off it because that's the flower pattern on the back that I want to border this. So now you see what I mean if my words aren't making sense. So I'm using that black and white strip, and I'm just putting the glue on the white, and then I have a nice black strip, and then see, I'll have the border of the blue paper, which I really like, and then that green. And then I feel like that ties it all in together. At first, when you're looking at all those different patterns, it's like, whoa, what are you doing? And then with when it all comes together with that rainbow paper and the green, I think it works great. So then I didn't really want a crazy background. I was trying to figure out what, and then at the same time, I was like, I don't want to just do plain white because I didn't really, wasn't in the mood to do some mixed media. I just kind of wanted to play with the paper and what I had. And so I didn't quite want just white. So I'm still thinking about that. I'm just going to get all these layers down. And now the bad thing about doing this without a background paper is you don't really realize how big you're making it. So I will have to adjust that after I finally find a background paper. But do not fret. I do not make you watch me do all the adjustments, peel everything up. It took about 10 minutes or so of me adjusting things, so I cut that down and edited that out. But it's like I have this handy glass mat that I could have figured out measurement of where 12 by 12 is, and so I had an idea that it wasn't too big, but why would I do that? I was just having fun putting the layers together. So all those strips and the branding strips that I cut, I am now fishtailing them to make little banner pieces and top and bottom. And I figured as long as I get the first strip even, then the rest of them should follow because they're all just going to line up together. So I did the black and white patterned one. It was the biggest one. And then I'm going to do this green patterned one. And then I'll do, I think an orangey patterned one. Yep. And then the blue on blue with the squiggle, and I believe a pinkish color. Oh yeah, I did the that paper airplanes one, paper airplanes border strip. So yes, a pink color. And then I have 5 different strips on the top and bottom, which is that how many are on the sketch, or is there only 3? I can't tell. It's too tiny on my tiny screen. I think there's 5. There's. I didn't even like playing that. And like I said, I'm being a little extra lazy. So instead of stitching down those strips, I'm going to play a little bit with the sticker sheet. And I'm going to take the leftover of this border strip and kind of place that across like it is a sewing strip. But of course I'm a little short, so I figured I will just do the ends and then I'll cover up the gap with some stickers and create kind of like a embellishment and cluster up there. So I grab a star and this cute little vertical word that says cutie, and then also a heart and a circle. And then I'm going to create a little cluster on the bottom, play with that with this happy banner and the other star. And I don't know what else. And this is where I'm like, oh, okay, before I get too far, I need to go ahead and grab a background. And so I figured out that it was too big. I kind of adjusted things so that it was better. So now it fits. So now I'm trying to figure out the background. I didn't really feel the wood grain. The black and white polka dot was too busy. Then I remembered, oh, I recently had got a bunch of just cardstock at Joann's. And I had this basil. It's white cardstock with like cream shiny hearts printed on it. So it's a white cardstock, but it's like pattern on pattern. And I think that looks great. It wasn't just plain white, and I really liked it. I'm going to grab one of these little tabs and add the word sweetness. And the big heart didn't quite work, so I put that little heart there. And yeah, I'm going to journal off camera just right below where there's that edge of the thing. And then I found these photo corners. I thought they'd be perfect to kind of frame the whole layout. But yep, I use Life is Magic just because it is, right? Thanks again for watching, you guys. See you next Tuesday.